Hello, New Testament students. Welcome to week 9 in our class. Congratulations on making it to this point. At this point in the semester, we get our last narrative in the New Testament with the Acts of the Apostles. And you've worked through all of the Gospels, all of those narratives. You've done a couple of major assignments. We have another major assignment coming up for this week. But we're really sort of starting to pivot and move towards new material in the New Testament and sort of new genres in the New Testament as we move away from narratives. And we just finished up on a double week. We moved back into sort of a more normal rhythm of having material in just one single week. So we've had 2 double weeks, not quite back. Well, we did have 2 double weeks back to back, actually. So now we're moving on to more of a sort of more regular rhythm. And hopefully you don't find that having slowed down for those the last month or so that picking up a normal pace is too jolting. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to get back to a normal pace here, and the things we have going on for this week as to our objectives, specifically with respect to the Acts of the Apostles, is you should be able to, after particularly watching the lecture video, to be able to explain the significance of Jerusalem, Judea, and the rest of the world. So sort of what those geographies, which is it's an outward movement. Jerusalem's in the middle, Judea is contained within Jerusalem, and then of course Judea is contained within the rest of the world. How these function, or how this sort of this geography works in the Acts of the Apostles. So that's primarily what my video on Acts is going to be about for this week. And then I'm going to actually go down to our third objective here because they're a bit out of order. But express in about a paragraph how the Holy Spirit acts in Acts. See what I did there? Acts in Acts. But this is going to somewhat be on your own reading. So I'm asking you, as always, to read the text that we're dealing with for this week. And there will be a lecture pause that engages specifically how the Holy Spirit acts in 2 different chapters of Acts. I'll ask you to take a look at 2 chapters of Acts and write down all of the things the Holy Spirit does. But one of the things I want you to be on the lookout for this week as you do your primary source reading of the Acts of the Apostles is to see how active the Holy Spirit is in the book of Acts. The Holy Spirit is everywhere in Acts doing all kinds of different things. So I want you to sort of be on the lookout for that and be able to express the different kinds of things that this Holy Spirit does in Acts. So now we're moving back up to our second objective here, is to articulate the various sources scholars use to study Paul and rank those by their priority. There's going to be 4 of them, and spoiler alert, the Acts of the Apostles is one of those sources. It's the third best source for knowing things about the Apostle Paul. There's going to be two that are better or more prioritized by New Testament scholars for knowing things about Paul, and there's going to be one that is less prioritized than the Acts of the Apostle. And then lastly for this week, our last objective is to explain 5 important things to know about Paul in about a sentence. And here I don't necessarily want you to sort of just mimic or parrot what I say in the top 5 on Paul. So that's how we're going to introduce Paul's, with the top 5. But to be able to take what I express about Paul, also be able to express it in your own words, but also to be able to take the things you read about Paul, particularly from our textbook, and then be able to put those into your own 5 important things to know about the Apostle Paul. So to get at these objectives, we're, as always, doing some assignments. But before those assignments, we have an exam for this week. So this is one of the major assignments, and depending on the grade you're shooting for in this class, you may or may not do the exam. It's not strictly required. That is, you could still pass the class without taking the exam. But I imagine many or most of you will be taking the exam and looking to pass it. And I'm going to make just a few comments here about how the exam works. There's going to be 3 different sections to the exam: a short answer section, a multiple choice section first, a short answer section second, I'm getting a bit tongue-tied, and an essay section third. The short answer and the multiple choice sections are going to be completely closed book, closed notes, all coming from your own memory. I ask you not to look at any resources as you engage those. And those are all going to be done on Moodle. They'll be auto-populated questions. So there'll be a link on Moodle. It's technically a quiz link, but it's an exam that will ask you the multiple choice questions and then ask you the short answer questions, and then it'll give you space for the essay questions. So the multiple choice are going to be based on those terms that I've been giving you in the study questions and content documents for each week. So if you've been keeping up with those documents each week, this is your time to shine. This is when your work is really going to pay off for you, because you're already going to have your study guide filled out. I've given you a study guide on the course Moodle page that basically what it does is it collects all those terms, and it also collects all the objectives that we've been having for the course. And all of those objectives are going to be the basis for the short answer questions on the exam that you'll see. The objectives get slightly modified and sort of put into question format for the short answer portion. And so the study guide will have all of those listed, all the objectives listed, all those terms listed, and the exam will be created off of the basis of those terms and off of the basis of those objectives. So you can expect to see nothing else on the exam besides what is on that study guide. There's not going to be any surprises beyond what you find in the study guide. And again, those first two sections are going to be closed note, closed book. The third section is an essay section, and I give you in the study guide what the two options for the essay is going to be. And this is a short essay. I tell you about a page worth of writing. I don't want you to overburden yourself with lots of writing, and I don't want to read lots of writing. I want you to really work on sort of condensing your thoughts down in this essay. That is an academic skill, to be able to rein in your thoughts and not sort of go on and on and on, just piling on more and more information. To be able to really present the most important information in a concise way is a really important skill for you to be able to develop. So that's why I ask you to try to keep it within a page or so for the essay. And that one is going to be open note, open book, and you can complete the essay beforehand. So you can write out your essay and then just either copy and paste it into the exam itself. There'll be a text box, or you'll also have the option to upload an essay. So I would strongly encourage you to write your essay before coming to the exam and just uploading it rather than trying to write it on the fly as you take the exam. If you do the former, namely writing it ahead of time, you're going to come up with a lot better product, and you're going to be able to really make sure that you hit the specifications for the essay portion of the exam a little bit better. And so I've listed those out on the study guide as well. Specifications both for the essay and for the short answer, so that you know exactly what I'm looking for as I mark these. So to be able to pass this exam, to get credit for it, for specifications grading, the thing that I know you are really most interested in about this exam is you need to pass the multiple choice and the short answer with a combined 80%. So you need to, between the two, get an 80% cumulative on the short answer and the multiple choice, and the essay needs to pass all specifications. If one of those things don't happen, the essay doesn't pass, or you don't pass the short answer and multiple choice at 80%, you can use a grace token to sort of correct your answers. So if that is the case, what you'll need to do is contact me, and I'll sort of pull out the answers that were incorrect and let you do some self-correction. And then doing that self-correction, you resubmit, and then if you hit that threshold, then you will pass the exam on the subsequent time. So 80% on multiple choice and short answer, and then a pass fail, or meeting the specifications or not meeting the specifications for the essay portion of the exam. That was a lot. The last thing, I need to know one more thing about the exam, and it's written, so you may have seen this already. It's up through the Gospels. It's not through the content that we have this week. So the new information on Acts and Paul are not going to appear in the exam. All right, and the other thing, as always, we have course notes, 2 different lecture pauses, and your different reading notes, and then engagement in the forum. All right, good luck on the exam. Y'all are going to do great. I'm very confident in the learning and the work that you've been doing this semester, and I will see you in the course forum.